Hello, in this video I'm gonna show you how we can improve battery life on Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. There are several things that you can do in order to improve the battery life and keep the state of the battery in a healthy condition for a little bit longer. So of course we're gonna start by going to settings, and the first thing that I want to show you is something rather obvious, and that is the battery settings or battery options. You should definitely use power saving, especially when it is recommended. And you can also read a little bit more what power saving does. And you can also select what should happen when you turn on power saving. So we can, for instance, disable AOD, we can limit CPU speed to 70%, decrease brightness by 10%, turn off 5G, and limit apps and home screen. And it should definitely be used, maybe not all the time, but as often as possible in order to extend the battery life. However, in addition to that, there is also one more option that is a little bit hidden, and you need to tap on these dots in the top right corner, and then you have the adaptive power saving, which is, I guess, always good to turn on in order to let the device learn about your pattern, how often you use your device, and then the device will learn when should the power saving mode be enabled and disabled, and it will be done automatically based on your usage pattern. The next thing that you can do is, of course, go to background usage limits, and over here make sure that the option put unused apps to sleep is enabled. You also have never auto sleeping apps. Some of them might be actually it might be better to actually turn off the option for them. So for instance, if you go to the especially if you use the secure folder, you can see the secure folder icon in the bottom right corner of each icon. Then in that case it might be better to even disable the secure mode, completely remove it if you use one, in order to not have these apps in this menu. We also have sleeping apps and deep sleeping apps, and over here in the top right corner we also have adaptive battery, so another quite hidden option, which I don't know why is hidden. It definitely should be somewhere in the battery settings in a more visible space, but make sure that this option is also enabled, as it extends the battery life based on your phone usage. So another option that definitely should be enabled. And over here we also have the battery protection. Now this one is especially made for those that often charge their devices. So if you tend to have your device connected to the charger pretty much all the time, and if you tend to charge your device during the night when you sleep, then you should definitely turn on the battery protection and use at least the adaptive mode, which uses maximum while you are asleep. The maximum mode, which makes the device actually stop charging when the battery reaches 80%, and it switches back to basic before you wake up. So definitely something that you should use, like I said, especially if you charge at night or when you charge all the time. We also have charging settings where we can enable and disable fast charging and fast wireless charging. Now, I don't really tend to charge wirelessly, and I'm not sure if that's really the case. I mean, if fast charging ruins the battery, but if you are one of those people that believe that they do, then of course over here you can disable this option. Better safe than sorry, of course. But you don't really have to enable all of these options. I mean, especially this fast charging. Even if you use fast charging, you shouldn't really ruin your battery like that with this option. We also have wireless power sharing, which definitely should be disabled. It should be enabled only when you actually use it, and only if you use it. So make sure to disable it when you do not charge other devices with your Samsung. Alright, so we have battery settings done. The next thing that I want to show you is in display settings, and over here we have the brightness option, which of course you might need to turn it down a little bit. It's definitely a good option to use adaptive brightness. And if you prefer to not use adaptive brightness, then try to use the brightness below this red threshold, below this red field. And try to also not use the extra brightness, as it also uses more battery pretty much. So not only will you have battery for a little bit longer, it will definitely also save your battery in general as well. The next thing that I want to show you is also in display settings, and that is the screen resolution. And by default, you have the Full HD Plus resolution selected. You might have switched to QHD Plus. This is the Quad HD Plus resolution. But as you can see by the description, although it provides the sharpest visuals, it also uses the battery the most. So I guess to not use the lowest resolution, I would say you should try to use the Full HD Plus resolution, as it is definitely more than enough to use for daily basis, unless you are like a full geek in terms of the quality of the display. Then of course go ahead and use the QHD Plus resolution, but of course keep in mind that, like I said, it uses the most battery, and in order to not use the device with the least improved visuals, then do not really torture yourself with the lowest quality and go for the middle one. All right. And the next thing that I want to show you, or next things actually, is more related to general services that you use pretty much all the time. And first one is the location. If you do not use navigation stuff or anything that is tracking your location, then it is recommended to disable location in order to save your battery life. And of course, only turn it on when needed, as you don't really need to use it all the time. And the same thing goes with Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi calling, Bluetooth, and mobile network. So Wi-Fi calling, and Bluetooth, of course, can be enabled and disabled over here. And of course, I'm not saying to not use Wi-Fi and Bluetooth at all. That's not the case. The case is that you should only use it when you need it. And when you don't use Wi-Fi, then simply turn it off. Even if you are not connected to anything, turn off Wi-Fi, as it is always, if it's always on, then of course that's not a good practice as well. And for the mobile network, you need to go to SIM Manager. And then over here we have mobile data. Once this loads up, you should be able to choose mobile data. And then when you not use the mobile data, then you want to turn it off. So for instance, if you use Wi-Fi all the time, then there is really no need to use mobile data. And if you don't have Wi-Fi, then of course, then you can use mobile data as an example. And there is really no need to use both at the same time, even though I have it enabled right now at the same time. If you want to keep the battery in the best state possible for as long as possible, then avoid using both at the same time. All right. The next thing that I want to show you is the AOD. Turning off always on display also allows you to improve the battery life. Although it is really a cool feature, it also drains the battery quite a bit. So if you prefer to keep your battery disabled, always on display. You can also go to the options in order to, I guess, adjust the always on display, but there aren't many options. Maybe if you use the custom AOD, then you can go back to the default one. But in general, if you prefer, like I said, if you prefer to keep the battery in a healthy state, then as long as possible, then turn off AOD. Alright, so I need to actually go back to location because I forgot about one more thing. In location, even if you turn off location, you might need to go to location services. And over here we have Wi-Fi scanning and Bluetooth scanning, which, like before, it might be better to turn off when not in use, especially if you do not tend to scan Wi-Fi networks all the time. Like if you connect to one, then I guess that's enough. So keep in mind that you can also disable these features in location services in location settings, as turning them off will also improve the battery life just a little bit, but surely they do. Alright, and last but not least, we need to go back to connections. I also forgot about one more feature over here, but it is located in more connection settings. And over here we have nearby device scanning, which, like with other things as well, just like with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and other things, it should be also enabled when really needed. So turn it off to improve the battery life, to keep the battery in a healthy state. Although, just like with Wi-Fi scanning and Bluetooth scanning, it might not really impact that much. But when you summarize all of these things, if you turn pretty much everything off or adjust the settings just like I did in this video, like I suggest you to do, then if you sum it up, it will definitely improve the battery life, and you will not only have the battery for longer, it should also prevent the battery from getting worse in general. So that's about it. These are, I think, all major things that you can manage, disable, and adjust in order to improve the battery life on Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. Thanks for watching, leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and see you in my next videos. Bye.